Hey guys, welcome back to Cyber Platter. Today we'll talk about GRC interview question and answers. This is part one. There'll be other parts which I will link it in the description box as and when I upload them. If you're curious about other cybersecurity topics or interview questions like on EDR, SIM, SOC, incident response, threat intelligence, I will link that as well in the description box. GRC stands for Governance, Risk, and Compliance. Let's go to the first question. What is governance and why is it important for an organization? So, in a broad sense, governance refers to the processes, practices, and structures through which an organization is directed, controlled, and managed. It includes the mechanisms by which organizations, whether they are businesses, non-profit entities, or government agencies, make decisions, implement policies, and ensure accountability. Effective governance is crucial for the smooth and ethical operation of an organization, regardless of its type or size. Now, let's see some of the key aspects of governance and its importance. First, decision making. Governance involves the establishment of decision making processes and structures within an organization. Clear and well defined decision making mechanisms help streamline operations, resolve conflicts, and ensure that actions align with the organization's goals and values. Next, accountability. Governance establishes mechanisms to hold individuals and entities accountable for their actions and decisions. Accountability is essential for transparency and trust. It ensures that those responsible for decision making are answerable for their choices and performance. Next, transparency. Governance promotes transparency by ensuring that information is accessible and shared appropriately within the organization and with external stakeholders. Transparency builds trust among stakeholders, including employees, customers, investors, and the public. It helps prevent corruption and unethical practices. Next, ethical conduct. Governance frameworks often include ethical guidelines and codes of conduct. Ethical behavior is crucial for maintaining the organization's reputation, fostering a positive work culture, and ensuring that decisions consider the broader impact on society. Next, strategic direction. Governance is involved in setting and overseeing the strategic direction of the organization. Effective governance ensures that the organization's strategies align with its mission and goals. It helps adapt to changes in the external environment and seize opportunities for growth. Next, risk management. Governance structures often include risk management processes to identify, assess, and mitigate risk. Proactive risk management helps safeguard the organization against potential threats, ensuring its long term stability and resilience. Next key aspect is compliance. Governance ensures that the organization complies with laws, regulations, and industry standards. Compliance is essential for avoiding legal issues, financial penalties, and reputational damage. It also contributes to the organization's credibility. Next, stakeholder engagement. Governance involves engaging with various stakeholders, including employees, customers, investors, and the community. Effective stakeholder engagement helps build positive relationships, gather valuable feedback, and consider diverse perspectives in decision making. So, in summary, governance is vital for organizations because it establishes the framework for responsible and ethical management. It provides the structure and processes needed to make sound decisions, ensure accountability, and navigate the complex challenges that organizations face in today's dynamic environment. Good governance is fundamental to the long term success, sustainability, and reputation of an organization. Let's go to the next question. Define enterprise risk management and its components. So, there is a separate video which talks entirely about risk management in depth. I will link that in the description box if you want to know more about risk management. So, enterprise risk management is a comprehensive and integrated approach to identifying, assessing, and managing the various risks that an organization faces in order to achieve its objectives. Enterprise risk management goes beyond traditional risk management by considering risks holistically across the entire organization, recognizing the interconnected nature of risks and their potential impact on the achievement of strategic goals. The objectives of ERM is to provide a structured and systematic framework for managing risks in a way that aligns with the organization's risk appetite and supports informed decision making. Now let's look at the components of enterprise risk management. First one is risk governance and culture. This involves establishing a risk aware culture throughout the organization and ensuring that there is a governance structure in place to oversee and guide the ERM process. A strong governance framework and risk aware culture set the tone for effective risk management and ensure that risk considerations are integrated into decision making at all levels. Next, risk identification. This is the process of identifying and recognizing potential risks that could affect the achievement of the organization's objectives. Identifying risks is a crucial first step in the ERM process. It involves a systematic approach to understanding and documenting risks across various business functions and activities. Next one is risk assessment. This is assessing the potential, impact, and likelihood of identified risks. This often involves qualitative and quantitative risk analysis to prioritize risks based on their significance. Risk assessment helps organizations prioritize their focus on the most critical risks, allowing for efficient allocation of resources to manage and mitigate those risks. Next one is risk appetite and tolerance. This is establishing the organization's risk appetite, which is the amount and type of risk it is willing to accept in pursuit of its objectives. Tolerance levels define the acceptable variation around the risk appetite. Clearly defined risk appetite and tolerance levels guide decision making and help ensure that the organization operates within acceptable risk parameters. Next is risk response and mitigation. This involves developing strategies and actions to manage and mitigate identified risks. This may include risk avoidance, risk reduction or mitigation, risk sharing or transference, or risk acceptance. Implementing effective risk responses helps the organization proactively manage and mitigate risks, reducing the likelihood and impact of adverse events. Next, monitoring and reporting. This is establishing processes to monitor and report on the effectiveness of the ERM program. This includes regular reviews of risk indicators and key risk metrics. Ongoing monitoring ensures that the organization remains aware of changes in the risk landscape and can adapt its risk management strategies accordingly. Reporting communicates relevant risk information to stakeholders. Next is integration with strategic planning. This involves integrating the ERM process with the organization's strategic planning and decision making processes. Aligning risk management with strategic objectives ensures that risk considerations are integral to the formulation and execution of the organization's strategic initiatives. Next, information and communication. This involves ensuring effective communication and information flows related to risk across the organization. This involves creating a shared understanding of risks and risk management strategies. Open and transparent communication is crucial for creating a risk aware culture and facilitating collaboration in managing risks effectively. So, by incorporating these components, ERM provides organizations with a structured and dynamic framework to proactively identify, assess, and manage risks, thereby enhancing their ability to achieve strategic objectives while navigating an ever changing business environment. So, we discussed governance and risk management. Now, we'll talk about compliance. Next question is, define compliance management and its importance in an organization. Compliance management refers to the systematic approach an organization takes to ensure that it adheres to external laws, regulations, standards, and internal policies relevant to its operations. This involves establishing processes, controls, and monitoring mechanisms to track and enforce adherence to legal requirements and internal guidelines. Now, let's look at some of the key components of compliance management. First one is regulatory compliance. This is identifying and understanding the external laws and regulations that apply to the organization's industry and operations. Next, policy management. This is developing, communicating, and enforcing internal policies and procedures that align with legal requirements and industry standards. Next, risk assessment. This is evaluating the potential risks associated with non compliance and implementing measures to mitigate these risks. Next, training and education. This is providing training programs to ensure that employees are aware of compliance requirements and understand their roles in maintaining adherence. Next, monitoring and auditing. This is regularly assessing and auditing processes to identify any deviations from compliance standards and taking corrective actions. Next, reporting and documentation. This is maintaining thorough records of compliance activities, audit results, and any corrective actions taken. This also includes reporting to relevant stakeholders, including regulatory bodies. Next, continuous improvement. This is establishing a feedback loop for continuous improvement of compliance processes based on lessons learned, changes in regulations, and emerging risks. Now, let's talk about the importance of compliance management. First is legal adherence. This ensures that the organization operates within the legal framework, avoiding legal penalties, fines, and reputational damage associated with non-compliance. Next, risk mitigation. This is identifying and addressing potential risks associated with non-compliance, reducing the likelihood of adverse events that could harm the organization. Next, reputational management. That is maintaining and enhancing the organization's reputation by demonstrating ethical behavior and a commitment to meeting regulatory and industry standards. Next, operational efficiency. This is streamlining processes and promoting operational efficiency by providing clear guidelines and standards for employees to follow. Next, stakeholder trust. It builds trust among stakeholders, including customers, organizations, and partners, who often seek assurance that the organization is conducting its business in a responsible and legal manner. Next, financial stability. It reduces the financial impact of non compliance by avoiding legal penalties and the costs associated with rectifying compliance failures. Next, competitive advantage differentiates the organization from competitors by demonstrating a commitment to ethical business practices, which can be a competitive advantage in the marketplace. Next, strategic alignment. It ensures that compliance activities are aligned with the organization's overall strategic objectives, integrating compliance into the fabric of the business. Next, ethical culture. It fosters an ethical culture within the organization, reinforcing the importance of integrity and compliance with laws and regulations. So, in summary, compliance management is integral to the overall governance of an organization. It helps mitigate legal and operational risks, enhances the organization's reputation, and contributes to its long term success by ensuring that it operates within legal and ethical boundaries. Let's go to the next question. Describe your experience with GRC technology implementation. So you can start by saying, in my previous role at company ABC, I played a pivotal role in the successful implementation of a GRC technology solution. This initiative aimed to enhance our organization's overall governance structure, improve risk management processes, and ensure regulatory compliance. First point, needs assessment and planning. I started by conducting a comprehensive assessment of our existing governance, risk, and compliance processes. This involved engaging with stakeholders from various departments to understand their specific requirements and pain points. We then developed a detailed plan outlining the goals and milestones for the GRC technology implementation. Next, vendor selection. We conducted a thorough evaluation of GRC technology vendors, considering factors such as functionality, scalability, integration capabilities, and user experience. After a rigorous selection process, we chose a vendor whose solution aligned closely with our organization's needs and long term objectives. Next, customization and configuration. Working closely with the vendor, I led the customization and configuration of the GRC software to ensure it addressed our unique governance challenges and compliance requirements. This included tailoring workflows, risk assessment modules, and reporting functionalities to align with our specific industry and organizational structure. Next, integration with existing systems. To facilitate seamless information flow, we integrated the GRC technology with our existing systems, including the ERP and CRM systems. This integration ensured that relevant data could be accessed and shared across different departments in real time. Next, training and change management. Recognizing the importance of user adoption, I developed and implemented a comprehensive training program for employees at various levels. Additionally, I initiated change management strategies to ease the transition, addressing any concerns, and fostering a positive attitude toward the new technology. Next, implementation and rollout. The implementation was conducted in a phased approach to manage any potential disruptions. We closely monitored the rollout, promptly addressing issues and ensuring that the system met the expectations of end users. Next, monitoring and optimization. Post implementation, I established a monitoring framework to track the performance of the GRC technology. Regular assessments and user feedback sessions allowed us to optimize the system, incorporating updates and improvements based on evolving risk landscapes and compliance requirements. Next, continuous improvement. Finally, I emphasized a culture of continuous improvement. This involved regularly reviewing and updating GRC practices, keeping up to date with industry changes, and ensuring that our GRC technology remained aligned with the organization's strategic goals. Overall, this experience significantly strengthened our governance capabilities, improved risk visibility, and enhanced our ability to meet regulatory obligations effectively. Let's go to the next question now. What are the benefits and challenges of automating GRC processes? First, let's talk about the benefits. Automation streamlines GRC processes, reducing manual effort and allowing tasks to be completed more quickly. Next, automated processes minimize the risk of human errors, ensuring data accuracy and maintaining consistency in compliance activities. Next, automation enables real-time monitoring of GRC activities, providing timely insights and facilitating quicker decision making. Reporting is more accurate and up to date. Next, automated risk assessment tools can continuously analyze data, identifying potential risks promptly and enabling proactive risk management. Next, automation helps organizations stay compliant with regulatory requirements by systematically managing and documenting adherence to policies and regulations. Next, automated GRC systems maintain comprehensive audit trails, documenting all actions taken. This is invaluable for internal and external audits. Next, automated workflows allocate resources more efficiently, ensuring that personnel focus on strategic GRC activities rather than routine and repetitive tasks. Next, automated GRC systems can be more easily adapted to changes in regulations or business processes, ensuring ongoing compliance and risk management. Now, let's look at the challenges of automating GRC processes. First, initial costs associated with implementing GRC automation tools can be significant, including software acquisition, customization, and training expenses. Next, integrating GRC automation with existing systems can be complex, requiring careful planning to ensure seamless data flow across the organization. Next, employees may resist the adoption of automated GRC processes due to a fear of job displacement or a lack of familiarity with the new technologies. Next, relying too heavily on automated systems can lead to complacency with the risk of overlooking the human judgment and context needed in certain GRC situations. Next, the automation of GRC processes involves handling sensitive data. Ensuring robust cybersecurity measures to protect this data is crucial to mitigate potential risks. Next, GRC processes vary between organizations. Customizing automation tools to meet specific needs may present challenges and require specialized expertise. Next, automated systems need continuous monitoring and regular updates to remain effective and aligned with evolving GRC requirements and industry standards. Next, some GRC processes, especially those related to risk modeling, can be complex to automate accurately, requiring ongoing refinement and validation. So, while the benefits of automating GRC processes are substantial, addressing these challenges is crucial for successful implementation and maximizing the advantages of automation in governance, risk management, and compliance. Let's go to the next question. How do you ensure compliance among third party vendors? Ensuring compliance among third party vendors is essential to mitigate risks and uphold the standards and regulations that your organization follows. Let's see some of the key steps and strategies to achieve and maintain compliance with third party vendors. First, due diligence in vendor selection. Before engaging with a third party vendor, conduct a thorough risk assessment. Evaluate their financial stability, reputation, security practices, and compliance history. Ensure that potential vendors adhere to industry specific regulations and standards relevant to your organization. Next, contractual agreements. Clearly define compliance expectations in contractual agreements. Specify the relevant laws, regulations, and industry standards that the vendor must adhere to. Include clauses granting your organization the right to audit the vendor's operations to ensure compliance. Next, regular compliance audits. Conduct regular compliance audits of your third party vendors. These audits can assess adherence to contractual agreements, industry regulations, and any specific compliance requirements. Consider engaging third party auditors to provide an independent evaluation of the vendor's compliance. Next, security and data protection measures. Ensure that vendors have robust data protection policies and practices in place, especially if they handle sensitive information. Set clear expectations for cybersecurity measures and ensure vendors comply with your organization's security standards. Next, monitoring and reporting. Implement systems for continuous monitoring of vendor activities, including their compliance status. Leverage technology and automated tools for real time insights. Establish a process for vendors to promptly report any incidents or breaches, enabling a swift response to potential compliance issues. Next, training and awareness. Provide vendors with training on your organization's compliance requirements. Ensure they understand the importance of compliance and their role in maintaining it. Keep vendors informed about changes in regulations or standards that may impact their compliance obligations. Next, remediation plans. If non compliance is identified, work with the vendor to develop and implement corrective action plans. Establish clear timelines for remediation. Encourage vendors to adopt a continuous improvement mindset toward compliance and risk management. Next, incident response coordination. Collaborate with vendors to develop incident response plans. Ensure alignment between your organization's response procedures and those of your vendors. Establish clear communication protocols for handling incidents and ensure that vendors promptly notify your organization of any incidents. Next, regular communication. Foster open communication with vendors. Encourage them to share updates on their compliance efforts and promptly address any concerns or questions your organization may have. Schedule regular meetings to discuss ongoing compliance, risk management, and any changes in regulations that may impact vendor obligations. By implementing these measures, organizations can create a robust framework for ensuring compliance among third party vendors and reduce the potential risks associated with external partnerships. Let's go to the next question. How do you present GRC information to the board of directors? Effectively presenting GRC information to the board of directors is crucial for ensuring that they have a clear understanding of the organization's risk landscape, compliance status, and governance practices. Let's see a step by step guide on how to present GRC information to the board. First, understand the audience. Consider the level of expertise the board members have in GRC matters. Tailor your presentation to their knowledge and understanding of the subject. Next, clearly define the objectives of the presentation, like are you providing an overview of the overall GRC framework, reporting on specific risks, or seeking approval for new compliance initiatives. Next, present information in a language that is clear and understandable, avoiding excessive technical information. Use visuals, charts, and graphs to enhance clarity. Next, provide context. Relate GRC information to the organization's overall business objectives. Demonstrate how effective GRC contributes to achieving strategic goals. Next, showcase key performance indicators, that is KPIs, and metrics relevant to GRC. This could include risk exposure, compliance levels, and the effectiveness of governance measures. Next, highlight critical risks that could significantly impact the organization. Discuss the mitigation strategies in place and any emerging risks that require attention. Next, offer actionable insights and recommendations based on GRC assessments. Clearly outline any decisions or approvals needed from the board. Next, review the organization's compliance status, detailing any regulatory changes and the steps taken to ensure adherence. Discuss any upcoming compliance initiatives. Next, showcase the effectiveness of governance practices. Discuss board oversight, committee structures, and how governance aligns with the organization's value and mission. Next, allow time for questions and answers. Encourage board members to seek clarification or provide additional insights. This can help ensure that the presentation addresses their specific concerns. Next, accompany the presentation with a comprehensive written report. The document can serve as a reference for board members and provide in-depth details on GRC matters. Connect GRC information to future organizational strategies. Discuss how GRC considerations are integral to the decision-making process and long-term planning. Next, schedule regular GRC updates to keep the board informed. This fosters a culture of transparency and ensures that the board is continuously aware of the organization's risk and compliance landscape. Next, establish a feedback mechanism. This is to gather input from the board on the GRC presentation. Use this feedback to enhance future presentations and address any specific concerns or areas of interest. So, by following these steps, you can create a GRC presentation that effectively communicates critical information to the board of directors. This facilitates informed decision making and oversight. Next question. Can you share an example of a critical issue you presented to the board? So, first, you describe the scenario. We identified a significant gap in our compliance with a new data protection regulation that was set to be enforced in the coming months. The regulation had stringent requirements for handling customer data, and our initial assessments indicated that our existing processes and systems fell short of the compliance standards. And then you can talk about the key points that were addressed. Like you can say, I provided a detailed explanation of the specific requirements outlined in the new regulation and how our current processes deviated from these standards. Next, I outlined the potential risks and consequences associated with non compliance, including substantial fines, legal repercussions, and reputational damage. I emphasize the urgency of the situation by providing a timeline for the regulations enforcement and the steps needed to achieve compliance before the deadline. Next, I presented a comprehensive remediation plan that included process adjustments, technology enhancements, and employee training initiatives. I highlighted the expected timeline for each phase of the plan. Next, I clearly articulated the resource requirements, including budget considerations, additional personnel, and external expertise if necessary, to successfully implement the remediation plan. I also discussed our strategy for communicating the compliance issue to stakeholders, including customers, employees, and regulatory bodies, ensuring transparency about our commitment to resolving the issue. I clarified the board's role in overseeing the remediation process and obtaining their input on critical decisions, such as budget allocation and prioritization of tasks. Once you talked about the key points that you addressed, you can talk about the outcome of this. So you can say the board acknowledged the severity of the compliance issue and approved the proposed remediation plan. Throughout the process, I provided regular updates to the board on the progress, challenges faced, and any adjustments made to the plan. So the key takeaway was that this experience underscored the importance of proactive risk management, effective communication with the board, and the need for collaborative approach to addressing critical issues with significant implications for the organization. Let's go to the next question. How do you prepare for an external audit in the context of GRC? So preparing for an external audit in the context of GRC involves a systematic approach to ensure transparency, accuracy, and compliance with relevant standards. Let's see a step-by-step outline of how to prepare for an external audit. First, understand the audit requirements. Begin by thoroughly understanding the specific requirements of the external audit. This includes the scope, objectives, and standards or regulations the audit is designed to assess. Next, ensure that all relevant GRC documentation, including policies, procedures, risk assessments, and compliance documentation, is up to date. Review and update these materials to reflect any changes in the organizational environment or regulatory landscape. Then conduct a comprehensive risk assessment to identify and prioritize key risks. This involves evaluating the impact and likelihood of risks and determining the effectiveness of existing controls. Next, evaluate the effectiveness of internal controls, ensuring that they are well documented and aligned with the organization's risk appetite. This includes controls related to financial reporting, data protection, and other critical GRC areas. Next, conduct testing and validation of key controls to ensure they are operating effectively. This may involve sample testing, walkthroughs, and other procedures to demonstrate compliance with established controls. Next, compliance readiness. That is, confirm that the organization is fully aligned with relevant compliance requirements. This includes regulatory frameworks, industry standards, and internal processes. Address any compliance gaps identified during the preparation phase. Next, communicate the upcoming audit to relevant stakeholders, ensuring they are aware of their roles and responsibilities. Provide necessary training to employees involved in the audit process to ensure a consistent understanding of audit requirements. Assemble and organize all required documentation for the audit. This includes evidence of compliance, risk assessments, control effectiveness, and any other supporting materials. Ensure that documentation is easily accessible for audit review. Next, conduct a mock audit or pre-audit review internally to simulate the external audit process. This helps identify any potential issues or areas for improvement before the external auditors arrive. Next, establish a dedicated team to support the audit process. This team should include individuals familiar with GRC processes, controls, and documentation. Assign specific roles and responsibilities to ensure a coordinated effort. Next, implement continuous monitoring processes to track GRC metrics and compliance status. This ongoing monitoring not only prepares for the current audit but also establishes a foundation for future audits. Next, maintain open and transparent communication with external auditors. Address any questions or concerns they may have during the preparation phase. This collaborative approach fosters a positive audit experience. Next, after the audit, conduct a thorough post audit review to identify lessons learned, areas of improvement, and best practices. Use this information to enhance future audit preparations and overall GRC practices. So, by following these steps, organizations can establish a robust framework for preparing for external audits within the context of GRC. This approach ensures that the organization is well positioned to demonstrate compliance, effective risk management, and strong governance practices during the audit process. Let's go to the next question. What are KRIs and KPIs in the context of GRC? So, in the context of GRC, KRIs, that is key risk indicators, and KPIs, key performance indicators, are essential metrics used to monitor and assess the organization's performance in managing risks and achieving its strategic objectives. First, let's talk about KRIs, key risk indicators. KRIs are specific metrics used to measure and monitor the likelihood or impact of potential risks that could negatively affect the organization. KRIs are forward looking indicators that provide early warnings of emerging risks, allowing organizations to take proactive measures. KRIs are often associated with specific risks identified in the risk management process. Let's see some of the examples of KRIs. An increase in market volatility could be a KRI for organizations exposed to financial market risks. Next, the frequency of cybersecurity incidents may serve as a KRI for organizations concerned about data breaches and cyber threats. Next, for compliance risks, the percentage of employees who have completed mandatory training could be a KRI. Next, an uptick in customer complaints may be a KRI for issues related to product quality or customer service. The goal of KRIs is to provide early signals that enable organizations to implement risk mitigation strategies before risks escalate into significant issues. Now let's discuss KPIs, key performance indicators. KPIs are measurable values that can scale an organization's performance in achieving its strategic goals and objectives. Unlike KRIs, KPIs are backward looking and focus on assessing the success of various business processes. KPIs help organizations understand how well they are performing in areas critical to their business. Let's see some of the examples of KPIs. First one, a KPI that measures the percentage increase in revenue over a specific period, aligning with the organization's financial objectives. Next, a KPI that assesses customer satisfaction through surveys or feedback aligned with customer centric goals. Next, for project management, a KPI that measures the percentage of projects completed on time. Next, KPIs related to employee performance, such as sales per employee or units produced per hour. So, these are some of the examples. KPIs help organizations track progress, identify areas for improvement, and align operational activities with strategic objectives. They're crucial for assessing overall organizational health and performance. So, in summary, KRIs focus on anticipating and managing risks, providing early warning signals, while KPIs measure the organization's performance in achieving its broader strategic objectives. Both KRIs and KPIs are integral components of a comprehensive GRC framework, contributing to effective risk management, governance, and overall organizational success. So that's it for today, guys. I hope this video helped you understand a little bit of GRC. There are other parts to it with more questions. I will link them in the description box. I will see you soon in another video. Until then, take care of yourselves. Bye bye.